Hello, everybody, and welcome to another My Music. Today, I'm going to be speaking to Kelly Price about her life in music. Firstly, let's have this little video from Analog Trash. You can unwind whilst it's playing. You can go and make yourself a cup of tea, get yourself comfortable. And when we come back, you can join in the conversation in your own head. It's a wonderful thing. Kelly, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Where are you coming from?
Live and direct from northwest London, Kensal Rise area.
Yeah, well, I could tell that because a minute ago when the light allowed, I could see out the window. And is it a shop over the road? It's actually got Kensal written on the...
It's Kensal Nails. Bit of advertising for them there. Yeah.
There you go. Do you go to Kensal Nails?
Well, no, I don't actually, but I should. I will. Yeah. And you'll see a few bus routes going past as well.
Kensal Nails, if you are watching, if you've seen this, and actually I will tag you in if you've got an Instagram, for the fact that Kelly's now mentioned you, perhaps you could do her nails for free. That would be nice.
Oh, that would be.
Yes,
yeah,
that would be great.
You.
But no, you've got to make the most of every opportunity in life. Kelly, tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, well, I didn't grow up in London. I grew up in, as you can hear, I've got a little northern twang here. I grew up in Wigan. Well, a little town outside Wigan, Ashton and Makerfield. Yeah. And I think I began this path via singing classical music in a choir, actually.
Wow.
I fell in love with sort of performing and realized I wanted to learn how to do it properly. So I found a singing teacher locally, and she said, you know, I'll work with you, but you've got to join my choir. So I did, and then it was the National Youth Choir, and then it was like the road to drama school and beyond. So I've been down in London for over 20 years, and yeah.
Now listen, along that journey, I've had one child myself who has gone off to drama college. It was at drama college, didn't do A levels, went to drama college instead, did BTEC, etc., and then went off to university because in the middle of all of that, at one point they thought they were going to do physical theatre, and then they changed their mind about that because they had hypermobility, and that could have been quite taxing. Fell in love with film, went off, did a degree in film, and then got back into drama. Did you find yourself flitting from one sort of area of the arts to another, or have you always managed to kind of balance it out?
Yeah, I think you always do. I think, there was a danger way back of getting kind of pigeonholed into, because I studied musical theatre, it's sort of getting pigeonholed into that. But I've always had an appetite for a variety of things. So, I've always loved film, and I adore theatre. Like, I mean, you can't get anything better than live performance. And I know lots of people who gig, who feel the same way. So whatever medium, whether you're just being on stage, there's nothing like that connection and the communion and the exchange with an audience, So in whatever, whether you're singing or whether you're, doing Shakespeare or whatever it is. But yeah, so I've always made it my mission, I suppose, to try and work across all medium, and and so yeah, I'll still always do stage work, but I love filming. I love being on set. It's all the same essentially, but just you use different technique to do it. And yeah, like you said, is it your son who's you mentioned? Sorry, yeah. Well, if you find that you can't move as much anymore, then there's still other ways of expressing and telling stories. And I coach a lot of people through singing, and it's all still storytelling. It's just yeah.
Well, exactly. I mean, he's kind of moved now. He's just taken up another new job. He's going to be teaching film at Western College. So
Brilliant.
it's great, isn't it? I think you navigate in the way, the opportunities as they come. And I think a creative is always probably more than the sum of their own parts in a way.
Yeah, and you're always reinventing because you go through different ages and stages of life, or whether where you're going to be fitting in, and so you reach another milestone, so to speak, and then you reinvent somehow or rethink things. But it's always part of you, isn't it?
Yeah. Did Kelly ever have like a person in your head that you were like, oh, I want to be like
that? Different people, I suppose. I mean, I was very much inspired in musical theatre by it was a video. This is how old I am. That came out called "Hey, Mr. Producer," and you had all these amazing stage performers, Bernadette Peters and Maria Friedman at the time, and even Judi Dench did a number on it, and it was to celebrate the life of Cameron Mackintosh. And so I would just, as a little kid from Wigan, not having any access to theatre, not really, I'd just sit and watch that. I'd be like, wow. And then I'd come, and Sky Arts would be on, so I'd go home and watch ballet, and I'd be, I'd just immerse myself, and I was learning classical music at the time, but then singing in a pop band, and it's just. And then as I've progressed, I really, of course, you've got Meryl Streep, who you can't not love her, and Isabelle Huppert, I've always found to be amazing actress. Now there's lots of people who I value, like Olivia Colman is amazing, and some of them are people that I've worked with who've gone on to, their careers have really soared, like Jessie Buckley and Hannah Waddingham, and we all did a show together called A Little Night Music, and now I'm maybe sitting admiring their work and saying, oh, that's my friend, it's great.
Are you constantly surprised, because I am, about the way that audiences potentially pigeonhole people, not just the sector itself, but audiences pigeonhole people, and then they're surprised, like when someone comes out with something. I mean, I was thinking, you mentioned Olivia Colman, and the absolute surprise that some people had when she did that Portishead song for Children in Need a few years ago. Do you remember that?
I didn't see that.
No. Oh, you must see that. It's still, I think it's doing the rounds actually on Instagram again at the moment.
Okay.
But she re-recorded a Portishead song.
Right.
Total mastery of it. And people were like, wow, she's got an amazing kind of pop sensibility and amazing breadth to her voice, etc. And people were like, I thought she was just an actress. And that kind of, I thought she was only, I mean, do you get that sometimes? And you kind of surprised that people are like, I mean, because people don't realize that, if you're growing up in that skill set, you do all these skills, you develop all of these skills, not just one or two.
Yeah, I was, absolutely. So I'm not surprised by it, but I do I understand why people are. I mean, I first heard Olivia Colman singing in, there was a filmed version of, not an actual feature film made of the London Road, which had been on at the National Theatre, and she had a singing part in that. And I suppose at the beginning I was thinking, oh, I didn't know she did that as well. But it makes sense, doesn't it? If you're just honing in this instrument, the body is just, not just, it's a magnificent instrument, and however that expression comes out, if you've been having voice lessons, or or you have if you tell stories, you generally have a musicality about you. Comedy's full of music, and so yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it's not to say that everybody can do all of it to a high ability, but yeah. I mean, I worked with Damian Lewis, and now he's a bit of a rock star. And I knew he played music, but I didn't know he's in a band now, and he's got his own thing going on. And I see stuff of his on Instagram, and I think, oh, good for you. Yeah. Why not have another literal string to your bow? And music feeds the soul like nothing else, really. So when you get to act with music or through music, I mean, it's the most, fulfilling, phenomenal thing. I and whether that's in musical theatre or whether it's, some other way, it's, I think it can be really powerful. So it's not surprising
when you're involved in theatre, here's another thing. When you're involved in theatre and you can sing, are you quite a good imitator as well? Because part of musical theatre background as well really is being able to play a part and sing in character as well. So I mean, how do you develop a voice for that? Because that's quite different in a way from, in a sense, a lot of pop artists or artists that are trying to make a recording career, because actually a lot of them spend a lot of time trying to learn what their voice is and sort of leave behind everybody else's, if you know what I mean. They start imitating everybody else, but then they have to kind of leave that behind to create this completely unique thing. Where do you sit on the sort of cusp of that?
I mean, I've always trained my voice to be versatile, to be able to fit to different styles and genres. As you say, it means that then you don't really necessarily find your unique sound within that, but it means that I can flip from doing something classical, like semi-operatic, to jazz, to blues, to soul music, and you just have a trained, tuned instrument as such. But I was having this chat last night about a friend of mine who has such a tone. It's a gog, it's a tone that you're born with, obviously then she's trained her voice, but this sound, it's like, it's magic. We were just talking about Rag and Bone Man, weren't we? He's got that, it's just a gift. That's a different thing. But even those artists still have to keep their voice, really malleable, and do all the what you might call classical singing exercises, because it's fragile. It can go. So you have to keep it, trained like a muscle.
But you also find actually that with a lot of sort of pop artists as well, that over time, obviously their vocals will change over time as you get older, and you smoke more and you drink too much and all of that, which clearly, kids, you shouldn't be doing, but rock and roll. But your voice does change over time, and for a lot of people it will drop in terms of where you sing. But a lot of musicians as well, if they've got a long tenure, will want to try and do something different with their voice at some point, because in order to kind of sustain interest in what they're doing, they might want to develop a different type of music, and therefore they might want to see if they can create a slightly different sound with their voice. I find that quite interesting as well, having spoken to some people that have been around for a long time within music, the way that they went, on that album I didn't want to sing like me, I wanted to sing like someone else,
and try out different styles, and just keep it fresh and interesting, and Yeah, and keep the voice healthy. I mean, we were referencing the other day Tom Jones. I mean, that man's voice is just, it's never really changed. He can still do all the, you know, all these amazing things with it, and there's that soulfulness in there, and it's big and robust, and you
but
know,
effortless, isn't it? It just
effortless.
sounds well.
It just
Sounds. That's a great thing, though, when people say it's effortless, because that means actually there's been a lot of work at some point gone into that.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of work. Yeah,
yeah.
people don't realise that. I do love the video of Ed Sheeran on when he's on Graham Norton. I don't know whether you've seen that, where he gets his tape, he gets his phone out and he plays a very early song of his, and it's dreadful.
I did see
dreadful.
that. And he's like, no. I mean, and everyone's on the panels going, no. And he went, no, it is. And then he played it, and it was really bad.
But that's very good of him to do that. I mean, it's very. It's important. It's important for people to realize the work that needs to go in to actually hone your craft.
Absolutely. And he did it very quickly. You know, his whole story was like 18 months later, and I'd written this banging tune, you know, but, you know, he applied himself. And it's so important for young artists to hear stories like that and see the progression and see, you know, I mean, sometimes it doesn't happen overnight. You know, it will take time, and then you'll hit some, you know, a point where you have to kind of unravel and try, you know, relearn again, because it's, you know, we age and it just happens. But you know, Ed Sheeran had a mission, and he dedicated himself to that every day, and he's achieved amazing things, hasn't he? From the love and passion of it. And
Discipline,
you know, passion and purpose.
Passion, purpose, discipline, very important things. You mentioned a word earlier on. You mentioned communion, which is obviously, you know, it's got kind of religious connotations to it. But I think it is the right word. You know, I think an audience, when there's that magical connection that happens there, it does feel incredibly spiritual. Did you have a religious upbringing, or did you have a spiritual upbringing? No, or
no. I heard Kay Tempest talking about that, and I you know, of that connection with the audience, and no, I didn't have I did start to sing religious music in the choir, and had a moment of, you know, there was a lot going on in my life at the time. I was doing A-levels. My mum had got sick with cancer. She's fine now. But all around about that time, and then having access to this spiritual music was just like, it felt very healing. And you know, I studied a lot of yoga in my time, and mantra and chanting, and you know, it's no wonder that singing and sound is affects and does something to the physical body and the and the soul as well. But I know I sound like I am being quite religious, but no, I'm not. But I do, you know,
spiritual maybe more than religious.
Yeah, because, you know, it could happen. It can happen as you're just singing to one person, or hearing music one time, or it can happen in a big crowd. It's no wonder when we go to festivals or gigs, you know, our arms are in the air. We're like, you know, and we're taken there, and we're taken to church, so to speak. Or indeed, if you do go to church and you experience it that way, I think it's all coming from the same place, isn't it? Human beings understand and need that. And so
a lot of musicians talk about, when they're performing, they talk about embodying that, or you know, entering into the song, and kind of almost forgetting for a minute that the audience is there. Do you find yourself doing that? How kind of aware are you that the audience is there all of the time, or are there moments where you just go off and you're in your own little, this is what's happening?
Yeah, there have been moments. I mean, and that's a lovely feeling, isn't it? When you're not watching from the outside, you're absolutely present and in the moment, or in flow state. You know, we all have different terminology for this same thing, really. if you're doing runs of like a show, for instance, it's really difficult night after night after night to get that. But if you do, it's bliss, you know. But sometimes you've got this little, you know, another version of yourself on your shoulder watching in, and you're like, go away.
I haven't eaten tonight, and
leave me alone. I want to be present. And then therefore you're totally in your head and you can't be present, you know. So it's a process, but the moments of synchronicity where, you know, you can be present and just simply sit in the material. I often find if there's I'm a big fan of Stephen Sondheim's work, and you know, he writes beautifully for actors, and I often find if you learn the material really well and you know the character and you know that you just need to drop into it, and it's there and it works. Other things, other challenge, you know, either music or text, it doesn't come that easily because it's maybe not as well written, or it's not as good, it's not as easy fit for you, even no matter how much work you do. But yeah, when it all comes together and you can just be with it, it's
have you ever
special.
been presented with a text where you just didn't get it and you just thought,
yeah oh yeah, loads of times, you know. Yeah.
How do you get out of that? How do you, or not out of it, how do you get into it? How do you, if you get presented with something and it just doesn't resonate with you, but you think, hey, you know, this is work, it's money, it's, you know, this will sustain me for the next few months or whatever. How do you then start that process of getting into that?
You just have to work, you know. Try your best to add as much layer and detail into it. You know, spark the imagination off for yourself, or
I was going to ask, do other people that are taking part really help in that process? Then it's kind of like,
I think you have to fall in love with it. I mean, you know,
you have to find a way of falling in love with it, whatever it is.
Yeah, you do, don't you, really? Or else you're going to really struggle to do it. And so it's a bit like walking away from, you know, at the end of it, you walk away from it and you think, and you know, if you ever seen an ex and gone, oh, I'm not sure why we were together. And then, but there was something at the time, wasn't there? But, you know, and I think you've got to, you know, fool yourself to fall in love with it somehow. But that, I mean, that doesn't happen that often because the competition is so fierce out there in all aspects of the entertainment industry that you probably not gonna be chosen or doing material that's not somewhat a decent fit. But yeah,
have you along the line, have you ever found a song or a piece that was incredibly difficult for you, not difficult technically for you, but or that just didn't resonate with you, but actually through the process of doing it, working on it, whatever, you've then completely fallen in love with it?
Yeah, I can't. I'm struggling to think now of an example to give you, but yeah, definitely that has been the case. Yeah, and sometimes you're surprised by things. Sometimes you think, oh no, this isn't right, and then suddenly, you know, you delve in further. Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's a growth moment, I would think. Yeah, that's a growth moment for you.
Definitely, and that's why you work with people. You know, all creatives are co-creatives. You know, you work with other people to guide one another into it, and sometimes you've got a blind spot to something that either a director or a musical director or a producer, whatever, will be able to bring that out. And let's hope they do. And even if you feel like you know what it is, you've not gone into the depth of something. And when you're working with whatever material, like learning a new song, or whether it's you know, doing a play, the repetition of it, some people could kind of think, how could you still be doing that? How can you still be singing that one? Or how can you do a show 8 shows a week or 7, whatever, you know? But you grow in it. You grow in it and you find more and more detail than just surface level, and that's a really special thing, you know. So I never tire of learning, you know, sitting with the same characters or
We should
material or
never
songs.
ever tire of learning anything in life. What are you
Oh
working
no,
on at the
no.
moment, Kelly? What's Kelly doing at the moment?
I'm actually directing a little project at a drama school.
Nice.
So it's through music. Actually, we're devising a project, and yeah, that's going to be fun and interesting. We're trying to weave a story through it. And I'm really enjoying working with younger people. um, and I'm waiting to hear about a nice telly job, which I'd really like to do. So yeah.
Can you say in what sort of area? Or not?
Yeah. I mean, it's just a really nice role for me. So I mean, we'll see. And I really like. I just went to Barcelona to shoot a commercial, and that was. I realized the variety is what really excites me, and as much as I adore theatre, adore making music of different. It's nice to have a new challenge. So I'd like to do some screen work. Yeah.
working with kids.
Yeah.
And I know about kids because I've got 5 of my own.
Have you?
Yeah,
You've been busy.
Well, you know, it was a weekend off. Working with children. Are you constantly learning from them? Is there something when you're doing this project at the moment? Is there something you've learned from those children that you've, you know?
Yeah, these are not children; these are young adults.
Okay, young adults.
But But I have
what have they
with some
taught
kids
Kelly?
I think that's super important. I don't have actual children myself, but that continue. You were always learning from one another, and I do when I hang out with my friends' kids and they're playing, and they remind you to be a newcomer all the time at something, you know, to have start afresh, look at it from the ground up, and to play. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I'm often having to remind others to do that. Just play. You know, we learn so much through play, and you know, allow our imaginations to take over. And I suppose we always have to do both. We have to analyze and look at something in detail, and then let go and just and play and not know all the time as well. It's in the not
do you know
knowing.
what? I totally agree.
Things happen.
Yeah, I find because my work kind of transcends between sort of this and you know going to very serious meetings. I sometimes think as we get older and we become adults and we perhaps climb the corporate ladder and then we do all of that stuff as well. I was sitting in a meeting this morning. I was actually thinking, I'm probably going to shoot myself in the foot now, but I was actually thinking, why do we adopt this kind of battleground corporate babble type of, you know, let's try and see if we're smarter than the other person type situation? And I just think it's just so pointless, isn't it? I mean, you know, I think there's something really refreshing about the way that younger people talk, where they just literally are blunt about things and say, well, that's this. And you go, yes, that is it. That is what that is. Why are we trying to make out like, I don't want to really tell you what this is, and I want to see whether you know what I'm talking about. It's so convoluted and, you know,
absolutely,
really unnecessary.
Yeah. And you know, so if you ask questions and say, I don't know what the answer is to this, why don't we figure it out together? You know, problem solving, or just, you know, allowing yourself to be vulnerable enough to be an open book, or be a vessel. Or
nobody knows the answer. Nobody knows. If we knew the
no.
answer, why would we be sitting here having that meeting in the first place? No, absolutely.
Exactly. And it's just all formalities sometimes, isn't it, that we probably need to to relearn or break down. But it takes somebody. I think that's what we really enjoy people, don't we, who've got very little filter, even though not to be the people. I don't mean being rude to somebody. I mean, obviously, but the ones who don't censor too much, who just just say what they're thinking and feeling as within
wear their heart on their sleeve
within kindness and love. Yeah, but it's oh yeah, I know where you're at, and yeah, just got to be brave enough to bring that.
I like that. I like that very much. You've been a wonderful guest. Thank you so much for your time. One final question, and I shall let you go and enjoy having your nails done over the road free of charge by the people who were going to
I'm going to go in and say
to tag into this. Hi, what are they called again? Kensal Nails.
Kensal Nails. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Next time I'm there in Kensal, I want my nails done as well. Oh, you wouldn't want to touch my nails, trust me. Finally, what's the gig, the favorite gig of Kelly Price's that you've never done but want to do? What would that be?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I'd like to do a really yummy TV series like Ozark or something like that, like something really gritty you can get your teeth into, but something fascinating, and a series like that, or a musical film. I've never done anything like that.
Musical film.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. An original musical film that we've perhaps not seen yet, or a classic.
Maybe. Yeah, no, well, I don't mind either. It would just be wonderful, wouldn't it? And I have another one. I'd like to.
I'm not greedy.
I'd like to do some vocals on a like an electronic dance track, or something.
Would really cool.
You? Yeah.
I could actually make that happen for you. I could make that happen. Yes, I could.
That would be awesome.
Spray, if you're watching, Kelly would like to do vocals on a electronic dance act. I happen to know the guys from Spray who you may know of years ago. There was a band that had I think it was a #2 hit, the Cuban Boys. Do you remember that?
The Cuban Brothers, you mean? No, they're different.
Cuban Boys. No, Cuban Boys. Anyway,
okay, different one.
Absolutely. The members of which, and since then, I know Richard's written songs for the Eurovision Song Contest, etc. as well. I'm sure that he'd absolutely love to do something with you.
That would be amazing.
I'm gonna put you in touch after this, and I'm gonna make that happen.
Make my dreams come true, Graham.
Yeah. What kind of voice would you use for that? Would you?
This is it. I mean, I've sang like all sorts of different styles, and I really enjoy like blues music. But I sang at a friend's party, and there was a composer musician there, and because I sang something quite in a more classical voice, I did a bit of different things. And he was quite interested in that, and I thought, that would be quite good on a.
I'm kind of seeing classical voice in the background as part of the bed, and then kind of more of a pop voice in the foreground. How about that?
Yes, let's just do it all. That's good.
Let's do all of that. Right. I'm gonna make that happen. There we go. I can't necessarily make the gritty TV thing happen, but that the electronic pop thing would happen. And on the gritty TV, you're playing the baddie or the goodie?
Oh, the baddie.
The baddie.
Yeah. Why? It's just interesting. Yeah, or period drama, that kind of thing. And I
think the best roles, surely, you must love these roles, is where people think you're the goodie, but you turn out to be the baddie.
Yeah. Yeah,
They're the
I
best,
do
aren't they?
get. Yeah, exactly.
Twist.
Butter wouldn't melt. Butter wouldn't melt. But
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, she's lovely. She's lovely. Oh no, she's not. She's murdering everyone. That's brilliant.
That's the rule I'm on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the psycho mummy roles or whatever, you know, the kind of the woman gone mad.
We've
It's
got
brilliant.
a name for it. We'll just write it. Psycho mum.
Psycho mum, or just the yeah, or
Psycho's been done, I'm afraid.
Psycho has been done. We'll find something. We'll find something, folks. If you're a script writer out there and you're working on TV show at the moment, do let us know. Kelly's up for that. That'd be great. We could make all of your dreams come true, all in one go. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. Thanks for agreeing to do this.
Thank you.
Folks, it's been a little bit different as well. You know, I try and get an array of different people on here who don't necessarily fit into a mold. I'm not looking for one particular kind of person. What I'm interested in is people's life that's been touched by music and their story of that in whichever way it is. Because I feel that, you know, the group of people that like this, we all have one thing in common. We all love music. You know, it's something that bonds us together. It's something that makes us happy at times, makes us sad at other times, and certainly enriches our lives. So that's what my music's all about. Thank you, Kelly. If you've enjoyed this,
really nice,
please do share it with your friends, your family, and everyone else. If you haven't enjoyed the last 36 minutes, well, we've only wasted 36 minutes of your time, and you can now go back to doing whatever it was that was boring before you started listening. Until next time,